do it.
I got it.
Good evening. We're calling the regular meeting of the Village of Oak Lawn Board of Trustees to order at 7:30 on the dot. Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
President Barry,
Here.
Trustee Olenichik,
Here.
Trustee Desmond,
Here.
Trustee Carberry,
Here.
Trustee Vorder,
Here.
Trustee Straight, Trustee Quinlan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? At this time, we're going to open the floor to public comments, and we have several comments today. I'd like to call Keith Euler from Liberty Tax up to the podium, please. Keith, if you could start by saying your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Sure. My name is Keith Euler. I represent Larry Lehman with Liberty Tax. Our address is 4732 West 103rd Street, Oak Lawn. Just wanted to give some comments about the sign ordinance. Majority of our clientele, 80% of our clientele, is returning customers, comes through referrals and, again, returning customers. But 20% of our customers are considered what we consider transitional clients. They're majority impulse buyers. They go by what they see on the road. Our Lady Liberty costume, even our signs on the road. And our business was affected. We did an analysis of our business over this past year. It was affected by 25%. Our business was down by 25%. And that's by our first clientele, like I said, are the impulse buyers. And without the signage or our Lady Liberty costume waiver, we don't have a way of attracting that type of clientele. So we would be losing about 20% of our business going forward. So I would appreciate anybody from the village to, pass any temporary signage for us going forward in the future. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Nancy Koss.
Hi, I'm Nancy Koss from Nancy Koss Salon and Spa. My address is 5401 West 95th Street. And I'm here to ask the board, whoever is responsible, to reconsider the sign ordinance in Oak Lawn regarding the temporary sign usage. I have used the sign for the past 13 years in my business, and I was told this year, after being ticketed twice, that the sign ordinance was changed and the usage was no longer allowed to put a temporary sign outside our buildings. I have two primary purposes I use my sign for, and one is to get through a slow day. If I have part of the business that is having a slow time, I can put that sign out and do a, say, 20% off waxing today and help fill that book, and the employee is happy, she's getting a better paycheck. The consumer is happy because she's getting a discount. I also use the sign for building new employees. I just hired a stylist, and we have a program of $10 haircuts for a stylist in training. And this is crucial for me to grow my business. That's how I hire new stylists. I train all of them myself. We normally would attract about 3 new clients a day for her to do her haircutting on. And when I had to bring my sign inside, I was only able to attract about 1 client a week. So this is having a devastating effect on my business, to be able to hire new employees, to grow my business. I cannot market my business on a daily basis, where I really need to target a specific service to keep our business solvent and stable and growing. I was told when I was here last that there were 50 some other businesses that were also cited for using their temporary signs. So I know I am not alone in this using these signs as a very effective marketing tool. It has been proven in my business as well as in many other businesses. And if 50-some other businesses are also using them, we need to keep our businesses growing and solvent in order to be able to prosper in Oak Lawn. And I would hope that you would just ask yourself if your paycheck was being derived from the number of clients you can attract from the traffic flow in front of your businesses, would the sign ordinance have been put into effect? Because our paychecks are being affected, and our bottom line in our business is being affected drastically. And we need to change this. We need to keep our businesses solvent. We need to keep them growing.
We're at
And-
3 minutes.
Okay. And so please reconsider this sign ordinance because it's really imperative.
Thank you. Kathy Kapinga?
Good evening. Kathy Campanga, 5370 West 95th Street. I own the craft show store. You talk about impulse buying. This is where the people come in. This is where we need the signage. I employ, I feel, 80 to 90 crafters in that store that rely on me to be there 7 days a week and sell their product. We need to keep the small businesses open. I will ditto everything the two previous people have said. We don't need to go over it. I will say I was informed in January of 2013 that my sign also had to come down, and my business has dropped 20 to 24% since that time. I want to keep the crafters in there. They're all local residents. They enjoy the store. We have a lot of walk-in traffic, but we need to have that advertising. When I run a special, I need to put it out there that we're running a special, that I'm running a raffle for Father's Day. I have no other way to do that. So I do ask that the mayor and the board reconsider this ordinance.
Thank you. Mr. Norm Lepescu?
Norm Lepescu, 9322 52nd Avenue. I've been an Oak Lawn resident for 29 years. At the last meeting, there was an issue brought up about a hit list, we'll say, for people who supported people that were running for election. 12 years ago, there was a board member that ran for president mayor and lost miserably. After he lost, he said, I know who supported me and I know who didn't. The ones that didn't, I'm not going to do anything for them. So I just want that to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Michelle Williams? And Michelle is our first vice president for the Oak Lawn Chamber of Commerce.
I'm here today to represent First Midwest Bank at 6001 West 95th Street. Last year we had feather banners and yard signs in our yard that we really need. Most of our clients, when they come in, our new clients say they thought we were a funeral home. So we need to let them know that we're not a funeral home, we are a banking business. We run a special on loans, and while the signs were there was a significant increase in our loan dollars. As soon as we removed those signs, those loan dollars went away. So it's very difficult for us because we don't have a marquee. We need to have the temporary signs when we do run specials. Also today at the chamber meeting, we had a number of the business owners there that agree when you're driving down 95th Street at 30 miles an hour, it's very difficult to just see the window signs. So they need additional signs that cause their business to be conspicuous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lastly, Mr. Glenn Cato.
Glenn Cato, 5090 Wick Drive, Oak Lawn. I also work at Cusack Insurance, which is at 5700 West 95th Street. I'm here to give a perspective from the Chamber of Commerce. There are about 50,000 cars that come up and down 95th Street every day, and there's over 2,000 businesses in Oak Lawn. Sign ordinances, some businesses are blessed with having some frontage and some ability to have a large sign, but others are not. And I think that in the spirit of economic development in Oak Lawn, it's very important to take any kind of sign ordinances to be very careful in how you legislate these things. You certainly do want to capture some of that 50,000 cars per day And certainly we want to have uniformity. We want to have a good-looking town. We want to have 95th Street and Cicero Avenue and our business districts look uniform and clean. But at the same token, especially for the small businesses, it's very important that they have the ability to have some spontaneity, to capture people. As one of our business owners had said, when business is down, I put a sign out, and that helps attract and bring things back up. So I just want the board and the community in general to really think about that, that it's very important to capture this traffic and to keep our businesses economically sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Before we get started, I want to take the liberty and the privilege to acknowledge some special guests in the audience tonight. We have the Honorable Mayor of Crestwood, Can-Do Lou. This is Mayor Lou Presta and his team. We also have Trustee Teresa Flynn and Trustee Bill Puroff. I hope I said those names right. Flynn's not hard to screw up, but Puroff, hope I got it right. We're so honored and delighted to have you here, and thank you for coming to our meeting. So, I'm going to move to the Garden
Mayor?
Club. Yes.
Madam Mayor, may I make a suggestion, since we do have the businesses here? Can we move up item number 13 for a vote?
Okay, are you making the motion?
Make a motion, move item 13 up
Okay, we have
for
a
vote.
motion on the floor to move item 13 up.
Second.
And we have a second by Trustee Quinlan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, call the roll.
Well, it's all right.
Okay. And let me get to 13, please. Okay. And item 13 is an ordinance amending certain sections of Title 6, Chapter 8 of the Oak Lawn Village Code entitled Signs and Advertising Structures. May I have a motion on item 13?
Motion to approve?
Motion properly
Second.
by Trustee Olenichek, seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Trustee Straight?
you know, I apologize for arriving late, and I didn't hear, I guess, the first speaker, but I certainly heard Nancy Koss, and Nancy Koss's business is in my district. And back when this ordinance was originally proposed, she did contact me. I asked her to, I told her that I would like to contact our staff and the Business Development Commission on her behalf. I was aware of some of the other businesses that were having issues, and I think that we do need to hear loud and clear that these small businesses, they can survive or fail based on the ability to generate that extra couple of customers. And I think we should, I'm hearing them. I think we should all hear them, and I would say that, restricting their ability to generate additional business is not in their best interest, and it's not in our best interest as a village either.
Thank you, thank you. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Madam President,
Trustee Warder?
I've had a chance to look over this ordinance, and it was new to me in my packet. I'm very pro-business, and after listening to some of our business people here, I have some concerns about how this ordinance is going to impact your business. I do believe there is a community need to uniform and maybe restrict the number of signs. It kind of looks tacky when everybody's got a sign out in the front, but before I cast a vote on this, I would like to have a little more information.
Can you be specific what questions you'd like answered?
Well, you know what, it's a rather lengthy ordinance, and I did go over it, and there are a lot of restrictions, but I think I'd like to have a little more time to comprehend it a little bit better before I cast a vote that would impact our business people.
Okay.
Madam President, given Trustee Warder's comments and mine, I would make a motion to table this.
Okay.
Just to remind the board that you do have a legislative committee now, and that you could refer this ordinance to that committee for further discussion as well, and they could hold a hearing or do work on it and then bring it back to the full board. That's just an option I'm throwing out there.
I'll concur with the attorney's recommendation and make a motion to move it to the legislative committee.
I would be comfortable with that,
Okay,
too.
we have a motion properly moved by Trustee Straight, and do I have a second?
I'll second
Seconded
that
by
motion.
Trustee Vorderer.
Madam Chair, we still having a,
Yeah, original motion.
Yes, we had the motion, the original motion on the floor, motion to approve.
Well, we could, if trustee Oliniechek and trustee Carberry would like to withdraw that motion, then we can have the new motion for it to go to committee.
Okay. Trustee Oliniechek, would you care to?
I'm prepared to vote on it. I believe that it's very important right now, especially this time of the year, to move forward. I will be more than happy to review it if there is any concerns or things that do come up, but I've spoken to many of the businesses involved, and I do not believe that it's in their best interest or our best interest waiting for another meeting to come through and then having it reviewed again.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Trustee Carberry.
I would concur. I think it's time for, if the businesses need the support, our support, they need it now. And if there's changes that need to be made, we can make them. And it's not in the business's best interest to, for anything to look shabby or to look, I understand what Trustee Border was talking about, but, you know, that could be a work in progress. But right now, I think we should, they're asking for help. I think we should help.
So with no motion withdrawn, is there any discussion on the original motion? Trustee Quinlan?
My only comment on it, and which I think Trustee Porter was getting at, it is pretty restrictive. And kind of the rigmarole that they have to go through, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty difficult and time-consuming for them to get these signs. It's not going to happen right away, and
Well,
I do think it might be worth some thought. You know, do you want to be that restrictive on these signs?
okay. Paul, do you want to discuss the restrictions that we have on the ordinance?
Sure, I can. You know, in addition, basically, it's just applying for, as you would apply for any other sign permit, the permitting process, that you would come in and apply for a sign from the village. There are some restrictions about the sign and illumination and different things like that. You know, I think that the one thing that's different than other signs that we have in the village or other signs that businesses have in the village is the fact that we're asking for a certificate of insurance to add the village as an additionally insured. Obviously, that's because the signs are sitting on our property, i.e. the sidewalk. And if something were to happen, the village could be liable if there was a lawsuit filed as a result of some sort of unforeseen accident or some negligence that we were not aware of. So I think that's really the distinction, if you will, between getting a permit for a regular business sign or one of these temporary signs. And of course, we have some things about inclement weather where it can't be out if, you know, there's storms around or threats of tornadoes and acts of God that may take these temporary signs and, you know, allow them to do other damage.
Thank you.
So they don't have to go before the Architectural Review Board?
Whatever the permitting process is for the regular sign.
For the
yeah,
regular
right,
sign, so
right.
then they would need to, and did they always do that then? So that's not changing. I thought that was something new, so I'm sorry, that was a
No,
misunderstanding of my
it's the
point.
regular permitting of a sign,
Okay,
the same process.
okay.
The only thing that we're changing is this insurance, which is gonna be different, which is,
Okay.
I think, recommended.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we're going back to Trustee Oliniechek's original motion to approve. Any other discussion? Please call the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
In light of the conversation of our attorney, I would have to vote yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. Going back to the beginning, Oak Lawn is a community full of beautiful gardens and yards, and the Oak Lawn Garden Club members do their part to make Oak Lawn even more beautiful. Today, we're going to recognize the winners of the 2013 Oak Lawn Garden Club Beautiful Yard Contest, and I'm going to meet them at the podium. Hello. How are you? Are you Virginia?
I'm June.
Okay.
I'm the chairman of the contest.
Okay.
So do you want to give them the
I'll
things
let you
first?
talk
And then I
first.
also have prizes.
Okay,
for them.
I'll let you talk.
Okay. First of all, one of these is for you. I want to thank Sonora's Garden Center for providing these gift cards for our winners for first, second, and third place. And first place will be Alice Healy, and it's $60. Go see her garden if she's ever on the garden walk. Gorgeous. Are you Ann Powers? Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I thought you missed us. Okay, Ann Powers is second place, $50. And then third place is Virginia Killeran. Beautiful garden. That's why they won. Also, I want to thank Jane Quinlan and Mayor Burry for the help that they've given us by giving them 2 tickets to our garden walk.
Thank you.
If you could hand it to her
I
when
will.
you see
Thank you
her.
so much.
And I really do appreciate all this extra help that you give us. Also, if anybody's interested in the garden walk, on June 23rd, tickets will be available at the gazebo from 1 to 4. They're $8, and what else do I have to say? That's it, I think. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is it okay for me to do this?
House is on that walk.
Thanks for making Oak Lawn more beautiful.
They asked me.
Thank you.
Last year before I was the trustee, you know, I had reservations about it. It is what it is. Yeah.
So Jane, we're going to the garden walk.
Go every year.
Okay, may I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting dated May 28th, 2013? Properly moved by...
No.
Oh,
I have a correction.
Pardon me?
did you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
Trustee Desmond.
I have a correction I'd like to make to the...
Okay, let's get the motion first, and then we'll discuss it. Thank you, sir.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve
Okay,
the
properly
minutes,
moved.
subject to change and corrections.
Okay, properly moved by Trustee Vorder, and seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Okay, Trustee Desmond, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, on the new business comments from last week, it says that I suggested that trustees talk for 3 minutes. What I actually said was that trustees that have no new business to discuss should only talk for 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll make that correction.
Are there any other corrections? Any other comments? Okay, Clerk Quinlan, please call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda is new business by village trustees. Let's start in District 1, please, with Trustee Tim Desmond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, I'd like to mention something that was overlooked, I think, since the last meeting, and that was to thank you for your wonderful offer of donating your liquor commissioner's salary to the Oak Lawn Police Department. The next thing is I want to update people on the jobs program that we're working on. Since the last meeting, we've had contact with 5 businesses, 4 from Oak Lawn, 1 actually that was outside Oak Lawn that contacted us. We got Meyer Tool, Beverly Bank, Hawkinson Ford and Mancaries from Oak Lawn, and Stars and Stripes contacted me about our Oak Lawn apprenticeship program. We also heard from Mike Reardon from Oak Lawn High School, and he wants to get involved as well. So we're moving forward with our apprenticeship program. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. In District 2, Trustee Oliniechek, please.
I'll try to keep it under 3 minutes. This is Bike to Work Week, and we will be having Friday morning at the train station. There will be a Bike to Work Week celebration. Village of Oak Lawn has been participating in the Green Initiative of Bike to Work Week. I believe we finished first last year in our division, didn't we? That's correct. And we're looking like we have the possibility of finishing first again. So that's very good. Saturday, June 22nd, we're going to have the second annual bike tour of Oak Lawn. There's still time to register, and you can hit our website to register online. If you don't have a computer, you can come up to the second floor and see Jane in the clerk's office, and our wonderful staff will get you registered. Our farmers market opened last week, and it was very nice, very well attended. I know that Clyde from Smiling Clyde's Dogs ran out of hot dogs, so that tells you that it was a very good event, or he has very good hot dogs. ComEd update. We requested a report from Commonwealth Edison to identify exactly what happened in the not in the microburst, in the power outage in which a raccoon allegedly caused major damage. They still to this day have not provided us with the requested information. So in response to Commonwealth Edison's claims adjuster stating that the power outage was caused by wildlife raccoon contact, and it has been determined that ComEd is not responsible for claims filed as a result of this event, the Village of Oak Lawn is preparing to file a complaint with the Illinois Commerce Commission. The village has been working with the Illinois Attorney General Office and citizens advocacy groups to file this complaint pursuant to the Illinois Public Utilities Act and to specifically request that the ICC conduct an investigation of the incident. That's very good for the people that were involved in it, and there was an article on June 5th in the Tribune basically confirming that the ICC now is starting to take a change in attitude towards Commonwealth Edison. Article basically states ICC votes to hold Commonwealth Edison financially liable for power outages. Just because the weather is bad doesn't mean Commonwealth Edison can't prevent many of the prolonged outages endured in summer storms, according to the decision handed down by the ICC. So it is moving forward that Commonwealth Edison, for the first time, was held accountable by ICC. And the challenge that I want to put out to all the residents in the Village of Oak Lawn, because Commonwealth Edison, in their own reports, tell us that we are 99.95% reliable with our energy. But what they don't tell you is the different neighborhoods that have the issues consistently while other neighborhoods don't, or where they put money into their infrastructure, which is evident. Anybody can go up and down the streets in the Village of Oak Lawn and see that Commonwealth Edison has not put money in our infrastructure, has not worked on our infrastructure, and that's the number one cause, in my opinion, based off of the things that I've seen, of why we don't have reliable power. We still in the Village of Oak Lawn have to worry about, on a sunny, nice day like happened a couple of weeks ago, that our power is going to go out and we're not going to have traffic signals on 95th Street. And what Commonwealth Edison hides behind is to hide behind the big numbers of, well, that was just an isolated incident. They're held to a different standard based off of the rules, and I think it's time that we, as a community, challenged ourselves to stand up to Commonwealth Edison and work together to continue to put the pressure on Commonwealth Edison and to put the pressure on the ICC to pay attention to our issue. I've been a trustee now going on 9 years, and we have had power issues every year. It is not going away, and the only way that we get attention is when we bring it on to ourselves by going to the ICC. So I'm asking residents who have had problems with power to stand behind us in this decision to go after Commonwealth Edison, because it's not just one resident or one neighborhood or one area that's affected by it. We all are, and we all need to take the stance that we're going to fight for each other to make a difference in our power supply. So I'll be giving us more information on when we have our ICC hearing, and I think it would be very important to hear from the residents of the Village of Oak Lawn. And Crestwood, if you'd like to join in with us, we'd be more than happy to help you out with that. Finally, the final thing I'd like to cover is we have an employee that is leaving us. Her name is Heather Green. Is Heather here? Mm-hmm. Heather's been a long-term employee here, and Heather is our arborist, but she's much more than our arborist. She will plow streets. She will help trim trees. She'll get involved in activities like the Green Team. And what amazes me about Heather, and continues to amaze me about Heather, is it's not just a job. She spends countless hours of her own time making sure that we at the Village of Oak Lawn are moving forward with our green initiatives, whether it's the electronic waste recycling, whether it's improving our recycling programs, whether it's protecting a tree. Heather will put herself in front of a tree to keep somebody from cutting it down if it needed to be. And she'll also take the line that if a tree is sick and there's nothing more that we can do for the tree to prolong its life, that it needs to go down. But I will tell you that very few times in your career or in your life do you find somebody who's as passionate and dedicated to not just her work, but the people she works for. So I'd like to say goodbye to Heather Green, and thank you for all that you have done for the Village of Oak Lawn.
Heather, would you care to come up to the podium? Heather. Heather, come on up here. Let's
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, Heather.
I just, thank you. It's been an honor to work in Oak Lawn. I can't imagine a better place to work. Everyone's been so supportive of the green initiatives and the trees, and I definitely enjoyed and loved my job to the bottom of my heart and soul. So thank you for the opportunity to work for you, to work with you, and thank you for riding along with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. In District 3, Trustee Straight.
Thank you, Madam President. On tonight's agenda, there are a number of issues that will be voted on with little or no discussion. These issues will have a tremendous impact on the people of Oak Lawn, and we are asked to vote on these issues without having received any information prior to the vote or before the meeting. The newly elected board ran on a platform of transparency, promising to shine light on the business of the village. I would have hoped that based on that promise, we would receive some substantial supporting documentation and all of the information that should be included in a board packet to make an informed decision. However, that is not the case. For instance, on tonight's agenda, there is a resolution approving the 2013 infrastructure improvement project. But the list of what those projects are or in what district they are in is not included in our board packet. There is also a resolution to adopt a policy for reviewing executive session recordings of past Village Board of Trustee meeting executive sessions in the Village of Oak Lawn. This is, in my opinion, is an obvious attempt to hide information from the trustees. In the past, all village trustees were provided all village records. This new resolution will prohibit providing a copy of the executive session recordings to trustees. If we want to consult the tape to make a decision, we have to make an appointment during certain hours and come into the village hall during restricted hours to listen to the tape, but we can't record that tape. What is it that this administration wants to keep from the public? Is this the transparency that we were promised, where decisions are made without supporting documents and trustees are denied records? There is also a resolution adopting a policy for placing items on the Board of Trustees agenda for upcoming meetings. According to the new ordinance, all items must be to the clerks, into the clerk's office by the Tuesday before the board meeting. That's fine, even though we found out at the last meeting that the rule only applies to trustees that are in the new majority. Now, this policy is setting Tuesday as the deadline, but then it provides an out for the manager to decide by allowing anything on the agenda after that date that may be deemed an emergency. Who else decides what's an emergency? Was the 2013 infrastructure policy item that the mayor added to the last agenda an emergency? Or are there two sets of rules? Again, this is not a good example of transparency. Also on the agenda tonight are a fire pension board appointment, a village treasurer appointment, and commission appointments. I have heard a rumor that a big donor to the mayor's campaign named Pat O'Donnell would be named treasurer. I couldn't confirm it by looking at my board packet because the mayor didn't provide a resume for Mr. O'Donnell or allow us to question him in determining whether we would give our consent to the appointment. I hope this isn't true. It certainly wouldn't be consistent with a transparent administration. In the past, we were always provided with the names of those being recommended for appointments and a brief resume. How are we to vet these individuals when no information was provided to us in our board packets and is likely to be passed to us right before the vote tonight? I looked up Mr. O'Donnell and found that he doesn't have any experience in governmental accounting and finance. It appears that he manages private investments for a family partnership. But he does have two very important qualifications. He is a good friend of Tom Phelan's, and he and his wife gave Sandra Berry $2,500 for her campaign. This board has to decide if we truly care about open government or if we only use code words like transparency to attack others when we are running for public office. I don't think the people heard the campaign promise to deny public access to documents or to appoint campaign donors, or that you would try to sneak appointments through without providing the proper information and resumes to the board. At the last meeting, the committee appointments that were approved were identical to the recommendations that were on Tom Phelan's hit list. This hit list consists of the names of residents who were supporters, their names were in blue, and non-supporters whose names were in red. Since then, there have been vendors that have been notified that they will be replaced. Now, we see these appointments being made without consultation with the board and without the board being allowed to vet the candidates. When this mayor and board were first elected, I said, let's see how they govern. So far, it looks like everything is about rewarding your friends and supporters and retribution against your non-supporters. This is only the third meeting with this new board, and already what the residents are witnessing is the opposite of transparency. I have no further business this evening.
Thank you. And we have District 4, Trustee Warder.
Thank you, Madam President. When I campaigned, I promised to make contact with the residents a little bit more, keep them informed on issues within our district. And as a result of that promise, I want to have my first meeting with the residents, which will be July 11th at 7:30 p.m. I've made reservations with the Oak Lawn Park District. We'll have that meeting at their administration boardroom, 94th and Kenton. I invite all the residents of the district to come. I can share with you the things that I have learned, and I can listen to you, what you need and what you want to help me be a better trustee. That's July 11th, 7:30 p.m. at the Oak Lawn Park District Administration Building, 94th and Kenton at 7:30. Also, there is an organization in Oak Lawn called the Oak Lawn Parks Foundation. This organization consists of about 30 residents who have a strong interest in maintaining and keeping our parks in great shape. Their primary fundraiser is June 22nd at Stony Creek. It's a golf outing and a dinner. The golf outing, as I understand, is sold out. But the dinner is open to anybody. Information can be gotten, again, by calling the Park District Administration Building. And Heather, I've only been here a short time, but I've talked to you a couple of times, and I'm so impressed with the service you deliver. You know, you can tell a person when they're passionate, and you can feel it, and I know that's the kind of person you are when it comes to what you do. I'm proud to have known you, and I wish we could find a way to keep you. But good luck in the future. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. And beautiful District 5, Trustee Quinlan.
Thank you. Heather, same. Thank you. You've been a tremendous help to me. Anytime that I call you or email you, you respond immediately with letting me know, when someone's going to be addressed or their issues taken care of, and really appreciate it. You did a heck of a job, and we will miss you. So good luck to you. The second item I wanted to bring up is, I know this has been a standard practice in the past, but when we have public comments, people come up and they state their address. There are just too many crazies in this world. and it's televised, and I, can appreciate that people want to know if someone's an Oak Lawn resident or their business is in Oak Lawn. Could they maybe on the form give their address for our personal information if need be, but just when they come up, they don't have to verbally say what their address is, especially if it's a resident. A business is one thing, but a resident having to be on camera for all to hear that they're, especially those that do attend these meetings frequently, it's a pattern. People then know they're not home. I just would like to know. I don't know if that's even legal, if we can do that.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Something, I don't know if we have to formalize that or if
Do we
the
need a
rest of the
policy, or
board-
can we just make it
You can
ongoing?
just make a decision.
Okay.
Do we need a vote?
Tell them ahead of time, they don't need to.
We'll just
We'll just
move
amend it.
forward.
Okay, all right, thank you. Actually had a resident bring that up to me, that they were fearful of talking because of having to give their address on camera. Okay, thank you. The other item that I wanted to talk about is, unfortunately, I did need to ask the police to remove a resident for disruptive and disrespectful behavior during our last board meeting. This has been going on for years, and quite frankly, I'm really tired of it. I know that other residents that watch these meetings or attend these meetings are tired of it as well. I certainly don't mind when a resident disagrees with me, calls me, sends me an email, and, can be as frank as you want and tell me, that, what you disagree with, what I should have said or whatever. But when we're conducting a business meeting, it's not the time or the place. And so what I would like to ask President Burry is if, again, we can have a policy set forward where, in my opinion, what I think is that if you acknowledge a resident that is, behaving in a disrespectful manner.
I think the protocol should be where you recognize that you get a hold of the chair and say, I would like this dealt with, and you
Well,
don't
can I
deal with it
finish-
directly. Sure.
Can I finish my report? And then we could talk about it. But what I would like to see is that you, and because you'll be hearing it as well, if you could please address the resident and give them one warning. And at the second warning, at the next outburst, they are removed by you from this board meeting. And then I'd like to also state that if it happens at another board meeting and they are having to be removed a second time, that they are banned from attending these meetings for at least a period of 6 months. I think that the BOT meetings are business. We're here conducting village business, which is important. And to have residents that are upset or maybe disagree with us, that's okay that they do that, but it's not okay for them to be heckling, abusing us verbally. I don't think any one of us on this board deserves to have that type of behavior. And so I would like to ask this board to support me on this type of policy. And obviously, I would also ask, and I will be the first one to say to you that, would you please, if you don't catch it first, I will ask you to please address a resident
It
that
is the
out of-
discretion of the chair, and I think it will be that way moving forward unless you'd like to make a policy change
I
formally.
would like to make a formal policy,
so-
because I think we
So
need
you
to
can
send a
contact
message.
legal, and it can come before the board for a vote.
Could we, and then, we don't meet for another month, so it's
But-
plenty
but
of time.
You
Then-
you really do have to work through the chair, though, and that was not done last time, and
Right, but the chair hadn't acknowledged the resident
because
that
I
was
couldn't
speaking
see
out.
what was going on.
No, I
so.
could hear it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Well, it was pretty loud.
So,
And so I would like to ask for that respect from you as
yeah,
well as
just bring it to my
from the
attention, and
residents.
then it will be
Thank you.
acknowledged. And I think that that's adequate personally.
I don't. I would like to see a policy, but thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Is that your
That
report?
concludes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. In District 6, Trustee Carberry.
Just a few items, Madam Chair. I got a call just this afternoon from George from St. Nick's. They have a fundraiser carnival this weekend. I believe it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He didn't leave that on the message, but if you can support that, that's over at 103rd, between 103rd and Kilbourne and Colmar. The other thing, the McDonald's by me, which I I've been part of a coffee crew there for the last 20 years at 106th and Cicero. 105th and Cicero. And Michael Kukas is here. I'd like to recognize him. And with the McDonald's corporate, you're with the franchise, Mike? And Anita Thomas, who's with the McDonald's Corporation, are here tonight. But I want to recognize them. Thanks for being here. It is a great McDonald's. You've had the same employees, Leonard, Leroy, Carolyn, for years. Good people and do a real nice job. It's good to meet you. I didn't plan on addressing this, but I will address, because his name was mentioned. Pat O'Donnell is someone I do know as well, and his great character, and he's from my parish of St. Catherine's. He did not support me. I believe he has a lot of money, of which he gave me none. And I don't know if he supported me at all politically. I don't know. I didn't ask him. He may not have. But that's okay with me. And if we are lucky enough to get him as a treasurer, Oak Lawn will be better for it. Because he's a tireless worker. He's a great person. And would be very, very lucky to have him here in Oak Lawn. And I just want to let everyone know that 100%. His character was without question. That's all I got, Madam Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Moving on to item 7, Village Manager's Report. Manager Deachin.
Thank you, Mayor and board members. Following up on what Trustee Carberry had to say, these are pretty exciting times for Oak Lawn. All you have to do is start at the west end on 95th or travel south to north on Cicero, and you will see construction throughout the community. And later on in the agenda, you're going to consider approving a project at McDonald's where the village asked them to go over and above what is required by law in terms of interior improvements and exterior improvements to better serve Oak Lawnians, and they stepped to the plate. And I'm hopeful that other businesses will continue the type of positive attitude that corporations like McDonald's are doing. And whether you're going out to Texas Corral, and you'll see over 100 young men and women being interviewed Saturday evening, late at night, 10 o'clock, as they get ready, hopefully by sometime this June, to open and employ over 100 individuals at that restaurant. I'm sure you'll be very impressed with the caliber of improvements. Although that business is based in Indianapolis and they have stores in Indiana and also Michigan, they chose Oak Lawn to be the very first restaurant in the state of Illinois. And you'll see on their tower it says Oak Lawn. I don't think you'll see that in some of the other restaurants I've visited in the Midwest. So they're a great addition to the community, and I think they'll be a strong member of the chamber. And we can go and look at our hospital advocate as they construct well over $500 million in improvements, or Bluestone, and more projects that are currently going before our Planning Commission, coming before this board for starting construction fourth quarter of 2013 and openings in 2014. So things are pretty positive, and I wanted to call that to the board's attention. Trustee Olenichuk, you made it extremely hard on me because I'm about to introduce Heather's replacement, and when you said that you snowplow and you also stand in front of trees, I saw him just about go out that door. But I'm really pleased, and on prior discussion, ladies and gentlemen, the individual I'm going to introduce is sitting right alongside his professional colleague, Heather Green, who has served this community so exceptional, as Trustee Olenichuk stated. Heather, on behalf of all 341 employees in the management team to your left, we thank you for your exceptionalism. You're bringing quality to this fine community, and your protection of a wonderful tree canopy, both private and public. It's not an easy job. You say no more than you say yes, but you have a nice way of doing that, and working with Alex to bring a green team from nothing to where it is today with many of the fine initiatives. Thanks. And now, let me introduce you. Matt basil. Tim, Trustee Desmond will be happy to know that he's more Irish than he is German and Italian. Rumor is that he has a relative, but Trustee Quinlan, I won't give the address, a fine grandmother who lives in the village of Oak Lawn. And I'm sure that by the end of the year, he will be residing as our arborist and certified arborist and forester in this community. Now, Matt didn't just come here. We advertise when we're seeking professionals. In this case, it's a national selection, although most of the candidates come from the Midwest area, including Matt. Matt has been employed by a very fine organization in Oak Park, Illinois, another quality community in the Chicago area. He is a graduate, interesting enough, because I really am impressed with this school since I came to Oak Lawn, the Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences. We all know that in Mount Greenwood on 111th. Fine school, excellent school that you have to qualify to get in. And from there, he attended the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, where he was a repetitive member of the Dean's List, and congratulations to you. He has worked with individuals in other quality communities, helping them on a consultation basis with issues dealing with disease of trees, and dealing with insects, and also with landscaping and planting. I'm glad he was here in the audience to hear the many fine things and qualities that Heather has brought to this program. You have a tough bar to climb to, Matthew. I'm sure you do a fine job. So on behalf of the village, I'd like to welcome you to our community. I know the next week working side to side with Heather will be extremely productive. And Heather, when you make your way to New Hampshire, I know you'll have a special spot for Oak Lawn. So thank you very much. That's all I have, President.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome, Matt. Nice to meet you here. Thank you. Look forward to working with you. Item number 8 is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a parking variation at 10549 South Cicero Avenue, which was a 7-0 vote to approve. Petition number 2013-20. This is McDonald's Corporation is the petitioner in District 6. And item 9 is an ordinance granting that variation. May I have a motion, please, on items 8 and 9?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Carberry,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Olenichek. Any discussion?
I think it's been discussed, Madam Chair, and Larry mentioned it. They've made great investments in the property. The board and everybody throughout the village has said that it's a first-class move, and they've gone through all the necessary procedures to get the variance, and we fully support it. So.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations. Item 10 is a request to approve a 33.9% parking variation, which was a 7-0-1 vote to approve at 6346 West 95th Street. Black Hawk Restaurant Group LLC is the petitioner in District 1. And item 11 is an ordinance granting that variation. May I have a motion, please, on items 10 and 11?
Motion to postpone indefinitely.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone properly moved by Trustee Desmond,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Olenichek. Any discussion?
Did I hear motion to postpone indefinitely? Is that what the motion was?
That was the motion.
Okay.
Just real briefly, we had discussion with, prior to this being placed on the agenda, with the attorney for the petitioner here. We've had some discussion. We're asking, we've come to an agreement to toll the time that came up from planning and development so we can work out some improvements on the property. There's a meeting scheduled tomorrow here at Village Hall. There's been a lot of back and forth. I know through the trustee has related to me it got placed on the agenda, and we just wanted to inform the board that we're going into this tolling process as we try to work through some of the improvements that have been suggested, and some of the improvements they have agreed to, and some of the improvements that the village will be seeking. And so that is why we're asking for it to be postponed at this time.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
President, if I
Yes,
if I
Manager
could,
Deaton.
again, for the benefit of the board, and I've discussed that with Trustee Desmond, just today, planning discussions started on the Ridgeland corridor. We have planning underway by the Chicago Metropolitan Area Planning Council on Cicero, on 95th. We have the Southwest Mayors undergoing a planning initiative on Cicero, and now Cook County has started one on Ridgeland. Pretty exciting. So another good reason to have the dialogue with this applicant, and I'm hopeful that the applicant will work very closely with the village on what the vision we have and what the vision is on the west end of the town to improve that area. That's a regional effort. Chicago Ridge, Burbank, Alsip, Orland Park, and Palos Heights were in attendance, and they were most excited about the opportunities around this particular site and seeing it upscaled. So I think that's another good reason to table at this time action.
Okay, any other discussion? Clerk Quinlan, please call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 12 is a prevailing wage ordinance. May I have a motion, please, on item 12?
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Streit,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
And Trustee Quinlan? Motion passes.
We're moving on to item 14, as 13 was moved up. Item 14 is an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 20 of the Oak Lawn Village Code entitled Architectural and Design Review Commission. May I have a motion, please, on number 14?
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Any discussion?
Just a request for the purpose of the amendment.
Okay. At the 95th Street corridor meeting, there were very, very energetic and passionate individuals who want to get involved, and it's a way to do that without removing people who are working very hard in that commission also and deserve a seat at the table as well.
So that's going to expand the commission by 2 members.
By 2 members, correct. And it's just to engage our public who really are passionate about Oak Lawn and want to make a difference, so.
No changes on the existing, the commission will not change?
Presently, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no compensation
I don't
associated
believe,
with this position?
I don't believe there's compensation.
You'd have-
Larry, can you confirm that?
No compensation.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, please take the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 15 is a resolution approving the K5 Construction Corporation's bid pursuant to the 2013 roadway resurfacing and water main project. May I have a motion, please, on item 15?
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek,
I'll
Second.
seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Please take the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 16 is a resolution approving the 2013 additional infrastructure improvement project. May I have a motion, please, on item 16?
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Trustee Quinlan.
If you don't mind, if you want to pass these down. This is especially, hopefully, the new trustees and the mayor will find this helpful. But this is, and it's pretty accurate. Since the time I was trustee from 2008 up and through this year, it's totaling how much money in infrastructure was spent in each district. And what I've done, I've updated it and included the 2013 infrastructure total, and then also the proposed reallocation. And breaking that out, just in the, the initial 2013 infrastructure was pretty well divided. But the proposed reallocation, as we discussed at the last board meeting, my worst fear came true. And I will qualify this, not for District 1. District 1, if you can see, they're under $5 million since 2008 has been spent in that district, whereas in District 2, it's almost at $7,500,000. And with these reallocations, and especially for the Public Works Board, which are new board members, I'm sure they wouldn't be aware of what these, the infrastructure has been divvied up. But District 2 would be getting over $500,000, well over $500,000 of that money. On top of that, his alley, the 13th alley, was originally estimated at $100,000, and it actually is more than that. It's actually $140,000 more than what was originally estimated. I think that it's not a fair split. I don't think it even comes close. You look at District 3 at 52.8, District 4 at 95.7, my district at 81.6, and then District 6 at 82.5. Again, I just don't understand how one district gets all this money. And, I can't imagine District 1 is real happy about that. I mean, it's not even close to being fair.
Okay, any trustee Border?
Madam President, I assume that these repairs are done by competent engineers who evaluate the entire village, and the decisions are made on what streets need to be done based on their condition, not necessarily splitting these dollars equally amongst the politicians that represent those districts. Am I correct?
Absolutely correct, trustee.
Okay, well, I think that's, we all represent a district, we all advocate for our people in our district, but we all sit here and represent the village of Oak Lawn, and if we hire professional engineers who evaluate our infrastructure, I put my confidence and faith that they're taking care of the issues that are most necessary to do it. And I'm not going to split a few dollars.
Okay. Trustee
It
Quinlan?
actually is more than a few dollars when you look at, you're talking millions of dollars between these districts over the years. And if I have been privy and have seen it, and I don't know why you haven't seen, there was a list in 2012 of all the streets, and they were evaluated. And it lists 10 being the worst and all the way down. And now, Public Works and Engineering, they're doing a great job. Each street is then listed when their street was last done. I do have streets that are 8s. If they were literally just going through 10s, 9s, or whatever, and it's not. It's skipping around, and I know that some of it is because, well, it'll cost less because this street's next to this street, or that water main's next to that water main. So it's not necessarily true. And so I'm saying, from my years of experience on this board, and I hear what you're saying, and I said that for years, but then when you start looking at these numbers, it's not quite the same. And that we all do have streets that are in the 8s, where some are even in the 9s and the 10s. And I just caution this board that, like I said, these aren't exact, but they're pretty darn close to the amount of money that's being spent in each district. And what's happening with this reallocation of the $1 million is exactly why I was a huge supporter of splitting up that money for 2013 evenly. Because, boy, I could come up with millions of dollars of infrastructure stuff in District 5. And, I just think that other districts who are paying their taxes also have a right to see some improved roads in their neighborhood.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President?
Trustee Strike?
Trustee Quinlan is absolutely correct. Last year, the reason that we passed the 2013 infrastructure policy was because there was a clear effort to stack public works projects in District 2. And the board saw that. In fact, there was actually an alley was started that never came before this board, was never approved, and it was actually begun. There was a disproportionate share, and as Trustee Quinlan has pointed out tonight, of these new projects, a full 60% are in one district. District represented by trustee, the trustee of District 2, and the same district that the mayor lives in. So I think, you know, you have to, I think, let's be frank about it. I personally cannot support an ordinance that just simply shifts the lion's share of projects to one district. It's not, I don't know how anybody could support, any trustee could vote for that ordinance when it's essentially shortchanging your own district. I just read an article, with all due respect, Trustee Vorder, where you said that you had 6-inch potholes in District 4, and I hope those are being addressed, because they're not being addressed by this ordinance here tonight. I know that.
Well, Madam Mayor, may I?
Larry was first. Larry, please.
Just briefly, maybe I wasn't clear enough in response to Trustee Vorderer. The village clerk noticed properly the meeting of the Public Works Committee meeting last Friday. The Public Works Committee met on Tuesday evening, public session right here in Village Hall, and we reviewed, and actually, quite frankly, we reduced at the request of the committee some of the expenditures in D2. Quite frankly, management argued that just reducing it, they'll have to be expended probably next year or the following year, but that was the input from the board for the very reasons that you're speaking. But rather than an equal distribution, it's the responsibility of your village engineer, your director of public works, Steve, who you can speak to. These streets, as you see here, which were discussed in a public session before they were voted on, were thoroughly reviewed by your village engineer, your director of public works, and they made those recommendations in addition to the professional engineer, Bergen Engineering. That's how this came about. Those are the individuals. You can ask them. You can call them up. Steve, I think, has another commitment, but he would tell you that. And that's how we came up to these improvements. Now, next year, we'll go through the same process. It'll be a very deliberate process, and you're going to put the money where the need is, because it is one community. It's not 6 separate communities. It's the village of Oak Lawn.
Trustee Olejniczak?
Madam Mayor, I would just like to give a couple of comments on it. First of all, earlier today, a trustee spoke and said that he had no idea what the listing of the streets and projects are. It was given to him on Friday in the trustee information letter that's emailed to every trustee that's here. He currently has a copy sitting out with him, sitting on the dais next to him if he'd like to show it. So to say that he didn't know what was going to be done is a total misleading statement from a certain trustee. Secondly, in the information that Trustee Quinlan has given us, when you look at the year run rates from 2008 to current, District 1 is $4.9 million. District 2 is $7.2 million. District 3, $8.6 million. District 4, $6.1 million. District 5, $5.2 million. And District 6, $6.3 million. So when you look at the run rate over periods of time, and please, I will give this to anybody who wants to see it. It tells the story that there is distribution based off of recommendation what the staff is. And there are certain districts in the village of Oak Lawn that are older and certain districts in Oak Lawn that are newer. Second district happens to be one of the oldest districts in the village of Oak Lawn. Just like District 3 is one of the oldest districts in the village of Oak Lawn and needed money to be spent in that district. And I think it's finally starting to look pretty nice with all the infrastructure improvements that are there. This is something that we need to continue throughout the village. We don't need to make this program seem the way some people here are trying to make it seem. But fact-based, the information was given to you. Open meeting was happened. This speaks volumes, and I really appreciate that, because if I'm in District 1, I'm looking at just the numbers saying, man, it's really not nice to be in District 1, but District 1 has the newest streets and the newest infrastructure throughout the whole village, because that was one of the last areas to be developed. Secondly, when I was asked to be on the committee of the Public Works, I did happen to see Trustee Strite out, and I asked him if he would be able to provide me with any and all notes and information from him being the former chairman of the Public Works Committee. To this day, I've not received anything in which he said that he would provide that to me. So when we're looking for guidance on this, yes, staff is the one that takes the recommendations, moves forward in the best interest of the village of Oak Lawn. And the final point I want to make is this extra $1 million of infrastructure improvements would not happen if this board didn't take it upon itself to make the right decision and take it away from second district, 100% of $1 million being put towards the upgrade of our village green, which didn't need to be done. Concludes my report.
Madam Chair,
Trustee Carberry.
just a brief comment, because we're putting the focus on us and that, but Alex mentioned the staff and Larry in the meeting, which I was part of as well, where we gave he rejected a project in his own district. And the engineers went along with it, and they thought they can get away with doing it the next year, in the next budget. But there was a sense of urgency to take it on. But I was glad to be there. The staff who live in Oak Lawn as well, they should be recognized. So when we speak about, misappropriating the work in doing something in our best interest or one of the trustees' best interest, you got to be careful when you do that, because you're saying that the people in Public Works, who I was and Larry Deachin, that they're being compromised by politicians. That's what you're saying. So you're saying that's what's happening, that the staff isn't working in the best interest of Oak Lawn. So if you're doing that, you're going to want to go the whole way. Don't go halfway. And the other thing, I said I wasn't going to react and speak to this, but it's kind of hard not to. But I won't moving forward. It's politics that shouldn't be out here. It shouldn't be discussed like this. And the focus should be on the great staff that we have here in the village. That's all I got. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Vorderer?
Yeah, I just want to respond to Trustee Strite's comment about 6-inch potholes. Bob, I've driven every street in my district here since I've been elected, and I've pretty much evaluated which streets need to be or need some type of an attention. And I'd like to have a lot more streets addressed than they are addressing. But I cannot argue with the staff that the streets they've picked in my district are, without a doubt, the worst streets. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. I would like to have unlimited dollars and do them all, but I understand that's not a perfect world. So I'm pretty happy with the division of these dollars and what my district is getting.
Trustee
So I have
Strite?
to say.
Yeah, Joe, I'm glad you're happy, Trustee Vorder, with the 2 streets, I think, that are in your district.
No, there's more than 2 streets, Bob.
Well, I'm looking at the
97th Street,
Madam
98th
Mayor,
Street,
Madam
Colmar.
Mayor.
And that's
Okay.
good.
Madam Mayor, may I have the floor?
Are you done,
I didn't
Trustee
yield the
Strite?
floor yet. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. A couple of things, I guess, and I don't really want to get into it either. But first of all, the information was not in our board packet. That's the point I made. It was not in there. There's no dispute of that. So the other thing is, the question it's been suggested that, staff is going to make the decisions and the consulting engineers. And by golly, staff does an incredibly good job. And we have paid consulting engineers to evaluate all of our projects to great length. But it would be probably foolish for anybody to believe that when certain trustees very aggressively demand, I think I could pull the words out of last year's agenda, that forcefully demand projects be done, that oftentimes those projects, and unfortunately, but it should be staff, it should be engineers, the truth be told, that's not always the case. And everybody knows that if an employee wants to keep their job and an engineer wants to keep their contract, they better do what they're told.
Trustee Olenichek?
That may have been under the former committeeman's jurisdiction, but that's not the way that we're going to continue to run. And I just want to bring forth that there are 14 extra projects that were being done that would not have been done. Those 2 extra streets in your district, Trustee Border, would not have been done if we had listened to the advice of the previous chairman of the previous Public Works Committee. Can we take the vote?
Call the vote.
Okay. Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Thank you. Item number 17 is a resolution approving the paving of an additional alley pursuant to the 2012 alley paving program. May I have a motion, please, on item 17?
Motion to approve.
Properly
Second.
moved by Trustee Olenichek, seconded by Terry?
No,
Or, Trustee Carberry, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Any discussion? Okay, please take the roll.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
No.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. Item 18 is a resolution approving a professional engineering services agreement with the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company pursuant to the 2013 Additional Infrastructure Improvement Project. May I have a motion, please, on item 18?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Vorder,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Item-
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 19 is a resolution approving a professional engineering services agreement with Christopher Burke Engineering pursuant to the 2013 Additional Infrastructure Improvement Project. I may have a motion, please, on item 19.
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Desmond,
I will second that.
seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion, please? Please take the roll.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Rolling along. Item 20 is a resolution relating to the termination of participation by elected officials in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. May I have a motion, please, on item 20?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Olenichek,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Trustee Carberry.
We, Oakland first ran on this. This is one of our top, issues in the campaign. And I'm proud we're voting on it. I think pensions are, fair pensions are, by all means, they should be, they're earned, and I'm for them. But these are, for part-time politicians, it's not necessary, and we should serve, and when we're done serving, Oak Lawn should be done paying. It's what we believe in, and I'm looking forward for the vote right now and ask for your support.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder?
Yes, Madam President, when I signed my paperwork with the village, I opted out of the pension program as an
Thank you.
independent candidate,
Thank
because
you.
I do agree with the concept, and it's good. But in a sense of fairness, okay, to the trustees that sit on this board that have served 20 years, how will this affect their pensions?
I can answer that.
Is Paul Parise in the audience? Paul, would you care to come up to the microphone and answer the questions, please? We need your name, and just let the board know your address later.
And we can speak to some of it, Sandy.
Pardon me, trustee?
That's okay, we'll let the expert handle it.
Paul Parisi is my name.
Thank you, sorry.
That's all right. So I was asked to come out here tonight to answer any questions that you might have.
How
about
will
this
this
issue.
affect people who currently participate?
Okay, well, it all depends on what the board would like to do here. First off, there were resolutions adopted years ago for different elected positions. So the decision that has to be made is this going to be a change moving forward, or is this going to be a retroactive change?
It's going to be a change moving forward.
Change moving forward would basically impact prospective elected officials. There shouldn't be any impact.
So the people that are, they're grandfathered in, if you will, Sandy, so.
Okay.
That answers my question.
But
Okay.
with that being said, for discussion purposes, Madam Chair, I've opted out, you've opted out, Tim Desmond's opted out, and Trustee Vorder has opted out. So this would be moving forward.
Correct. Trustee Quinlan?
Just from my conversations with Pat Connolly on this, I just want to make sure, because at that point, no one had talked to him. I don't know if they had talked to you at all. But I do want this board to understand that there is no going back. Should this board make this decision, 10 years, 15 years down the road, this benefit is no longer available. And, I commend you. You guys are taking that, and that's fine. And, you're declining it. Yet, I think that you're speaking for people 15 years from now, 20 years. And am I correct on that? That once Oak Lawn, the village of Oak Lawn, chooses to not, to get rid of this benefit, that it is no longer an option years down the road.
Currently, it's an irrevocable decision.
And so that was my point, just to realize that, in case that you didn't know that if board members choose not to accept any benefit, whether it's health or this, it's okay. And it should, I think that's great. But to speak for people 15 years from now, not knowing situations or what's going on, I think it's just something to give some thought to.
I think you're,
Trustee
Madam
Carberry?
Chair, Mayor. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. And there's I think the reward is the service. And as far as a compensation plan, I really don't think part-time politicians should be getting any kind of pension or further compensation. Also, with that, it's not just, so if you're in the part of this plan, the IMRF, and you could validate this. If I was an Oak Lawn trustee for 20 years, and then be an Oak Lawn trustee for 20 years, I could be part of the IMRF or in the Oak Lawn Police Department. To be paid to get 20 years of credit on a part-time position, and then get pensioned on the new dollars is totally unfair to the people that have worked hard and paid into a pension for all those years. So if people don't understand what I'm saying, we could as a part-time trustee receive $5,000 or $6,000 a year, and get that for 24 years, and then take a job with another with this fund, validate this if you can, and I take the job for 10 years. What do I get pensioned on?
Your pension is based on your highest 48 consecutive months of
There's no
earnings.
fairness there. So I'm a taker. Right there, I become a taker. I'm taking from someone else who's earned it, who's paid into it, and I'm taking the money out of it. It happens a lot more than people know, and there's no room for it. This is, and it's not just, this is going to happen more and more. This isn't just going to happen here. It's going to happen. We should take the lead on it, because I guarantee you there'll be more communities in the Southland here that'll do the same thing. It will continue, but they're doing it, and there's been great leadership in the unions as well. Terry Allen with the 134 has done the same thing with his. He's reduced the pension credits with the same credits that he gets as president of the union. He gets for as his men, as his electricians. So it's changing. Let's stay in front of it. Let's be a leader in it. It's the right thing to do. I'll never regret it. I know it's the right thing to do. It's a part-time position. We're serving. Oak Lawn should be done paying when I'm done serving. That's it, and that's what I believe in. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We're going to call the roll soon. Yes.
Yeah, I just do want to address one thing. Again, you're new. It's a lot more than part-time. I will tell you that. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time talking to residents. It's a lot of time preparing. It's just a lot of time. I think you're going to be surprised and know that. So I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm based on my 6 years experience. It's a lot more time than you think. So, and
We're
people
gonna
will
hear
never
Trustee Warder and
understand,
then call the
you
roll.
know, what's
Madam
behind
President,
that, so.
Madam President, he didn't get to speak.
Oh,
Madam
President.
Trustee Warder, then Trustee Straight.
Yes, I agree with you, Carol. I was shocked to find out that what a good trustee and the hours he spends in his district. I do believe people work for compensation. That's just the way it is. But this is really a public service job. You got to want to do this because they can't compensate us enough for the hours I put in. Okay, so I think the pension crisis in this state has put this on the forefront, and I agree with Mike. We should take leadership positions here and step back from those pension programs. And maybe we should get more compensation. That can be addressed at a later time. Okay, but right now I think that we should do this, and I think you're right. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, the first thing I'd like to point out is that the Illinois Municipal Retirement Pension Fund is the best funded public pension in the state of Illinois. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. It's actually funded. It's actually funded to 86%. And some of the people that have participated in this pension fund in the past are former mayors Ernie Kolb, former trustee Ron Stanzik, and former village clerk Jane Powers. This pension benefit that is received today is the same pension benefit that was offered when I was first elected in 1991, and I suspect that it's the same benefit that was offered decades prior. It's never changed. Nor has the compensation, which it comes out to $150 a week, and the health insurance. Those have always been the same, never increased, never changed in all these years. It may sound, good, talk about pension crisis and we're going to eliminate a public pension, and I think you have to really know the real facts about it. First of all, an elected official is not eligible to receive a pension until they serve for 8 years. And then, after that, the benefit is very nominal, equating to about $10 a month for each year of service. For example, if I were to retire today, after 22 years, I would receive $220 a month once I reach age 62, which is not far off. For each month, I put in 4.5% of my trustee pay into the fund, and the village contributes the same. So over the course of the year, the village contribution is $27 a month, or $324 a year. So eliminating the pension for elected officials would really have no significant effect on the budget whatsoever. While the difference that this will make on the village budget is insignificant, the impact that it will have on the pensions of other employees could be very important. While the pension debate has largely been about compounded increases, lifetime health benefits, and the age of retirement, rarely have the pensions been eliminated entirely. The effect that it will have on the system is that you're removing an entire class of participants. So what's next? Do we remove another entire class of participants? Additionally, most elected officials do not serve long enough to even vest in the system, but the contributions do remain with the pension fund. Initially, to participate in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, elected officials had to certify that they worked at least 600 hours per year. That was later changed to 1,000 hours per year. As part of the resolution to eliminate pensions, the mayor and trustees are stating that they do not work at least 1,000 hours per year. That is less than 20 hours per week. Over the course of attending board and committee meetings, preparing for meetings, meeting with or communicating with our constituents, meeting with staff, and attending events, even the least ambitious mayor or trustee should be working more than 20 hours a week. Anyone approving this measure is stating to the people of Oak Lawn that they don't intend to work at least 20 hours a week. Anyone who has been part of the pension system over the last 8 years that now wants to change the work hour requirement is saying that the job didn't require at least 20 hours of their time each week. I'm sure that is an interesting fact that the people in your district wish they knew before they voted in the last election. If our real objective is to save money and to cut the budget, then why would those pushing for this resolution demonstrate such callousness towards taxpayers on issues that really matter? Let's start with the pension fund of the
Call the roll.
trustee. No, let's start with the trustee that proposed that we provide this pension modification. The pension fund that he's a participant in. That is the Cook County Employees Annuity and Benefit Fund, which is currently $6.9 billion in debt and is only 53% funded. At retirement, this trustee will be eligible for a pension of nearly 6 figures a year. Now, given that he's the one that proposed this pension reform for the village of Oak Lawn, if he really wants to help the taxpayers, he should give up his county pension. He can voluntarily
We're going to call the
do
roll,
so.
please. This is
You know
this
what?
is a personal
Madam-
attack.
Madam Chair, let him go. Madam Chair, please.
Madam Chair,
I'd like
he's
him to
bringing
finish.
personal conflict into it. It's not fair.
I'm sure you don't want to hear what I have to say, but the people
It's a personal
of Oak Lawn
attack,
are
sir.
entitled to hear it. So I'd like to finish.
I would like to call to order people in the audience that are speaking out.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Madam
would you like
President, I
to
ask for a
address
call
them?
for the vote.
Okay, we have a
Madam
call for the
Chair,
vote.
Would you
and
like
a-
to address them?
I have the floor.
We have a
Madam
call for
Chair,
the
I
vote.
have the floor.
Madam President,
Please
I ask for a call for the vote.
We have a call for the vote.
Madam Chair, let him finish.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, as I said, he can voluntarily give up that pension, and that's the pension fund that desperately needs help. As you've heard from the representative from the IMRF, the Illinois Municipal Retirement Pension is the best funded pension in the state of Illinois. So, of course, he won't give up that pension because that would affect him personally. By the way, this is the same trustee who was appointed to fill out the remaining 8 months of a former state representative's term.
Again, Madam Trustee.
In that 8 months,
We have a call to
he
call the
voted
vote.
to raise.
Again.
You know what?
Point of order,
finish.
you're
Let him
bringing up
finish.
personal issues. Under Robert's rule,
You know what,
you're not
if you
allowed
want
to
to bring
do
up
this.
pension reform.
This is a personal
then
attack.
This is part of the debate. I think people should hear
No, the part of the
entire
debate, the
debate.
part
not
of the
just
debate
the
is
side-
Trustee
not just
Olenichek?
the
You don't
side
want to
that
give
you
up,
want
a-
them
you don't
to
want to
hear.
give up a
Trustee
benefit.
Olenichek?
I have a very little more to say. I think I should.
Let him finish. Let him
Thank you.
finish.
Thank
You're
you.
doing a good
Trustee
job.
Carberry?
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Trustee Carberry. I appreciate your.
Class act.
So, as I said, he was appointed to fill out the remaining 8 months of a former state representative's term. In that 8 months, he voted to raise your income taxes by 66%. It was the largest income tax increase in the state of Illinois history, which will cost the average household in the village of Oak Lawn $1,500. I'm sure that everyone can agree that this tax increase did nothing for the people of Oak Lawn, or excuse me, for the people of Oak Lawn, the state of Illinois, or the taxpayers. We now hear that the budget wasn't fixed by this tax increase. We have another trustee here who has on multiple occasions.
Were you wrapping it up, sir?
I'm wrapping it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have another who has on multiple occasions recommended that we eliminate the health insurance benefit that elected officials receive. Of course, that was before he enrolled in the health insurance plan. After losing his job earlier this year, he enrolled in the village village's health insurance plan.
This is a personal attack.
It's not no, it's just facts.
I'm going to call the
For
roll.
employee, if he's,
Yes, call the roll,
you know,
yeah.
if
Call the
he's
roll.
not going to
Trustee
work.
Oliniechek?
Could you please let him continue on, because I think it's very good that somebody would be as low life as this man next to me.
You know, we have a full agenda. I'm going to call the roll.
I concur. Let it.
Let the curmudgeon speak.
Right.
All right, that's it.
As
Let's be
I said,
respectful.
after losing his job earlier this year, he enrolled in the village's health insurance plan for employees. If he's not going to work 20 hours a week, which he's now stating, he shouldn't receive health insurance benefits paid for by the taxpayers of Oak Lawn. In addition to the health insurance benefits, he's also receiving unemployment compensation, another taxpayer-funded benefit from the state of Illinois. Yet he stands here today ready to save the taxpayers $6.23 for every trustee's contribution to the Illinois retirement pension fund. That's less than $325 a year. Insurance, on the other hand, is very expensive. A family plan on Cobra can cost as much as $24,000. If these trustees were really serious about saving taxpayers' money, they'd stop being so hypocritical and stop talking out of both sides of their mouth. According to a report we received this week, the village's operating cash flow is $1.2 million higher than budgeted for this year, making this resolution obviously more political than necessary. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Call the vote, please.
Madam Chair.
Trustee Carberry?
Yeah, a couple things.
I'm just reminding folks, this is item 20 out of 30-something items on the
okay.
agenda. Okay.
It's okay. No, what is the truth is, if a trustee, like Trustee Stride, now we'll get to that when we get to term limits, so hopefully there won't be a trustee here for 24 years. But, and I believe that's a good reform as well. And, but when you can work 24 years as a trustee in Oak Lawn, making whatever, $5,000 or $6,000, whatever the nominal fee is,
$220 a month.
and then go on to make $80,000 and be pensioned on $80,000, that's an unfair pension benefit. I think anybody would agree with that. It has happened. May not have happened with the Oak Lawn Fund. I don't know if any of these previous trustees ever went on with a job with Oak Lawn where they were in this fund. I haven't researched that. I just know it's not fair. I know it's not right. I know most people would agree with that. Now, as far as the pension benefit with my employer, I could not reject. You cannot reject. It's not, can't do it. And it's not that poorly funded as was stated. But you cannot reject. And no, I won't be a pension. I'd have to be there till I'm 70 years old, Bob, and that's just, you're just not accurate in your statements. But that's all I have. But going after someone personally on their, and especially what happened with a personal attack, not to me, because I think it does show what you're really all about, and it certainly isn't your constituents that you're working so hard for.
Madam Mayor, may I go next?
Certainly isn't that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Oliniechek, and then we're going to call the vote.
All right. I am unemployed. The company that I did work for ceased operations due to bad economy. This is the first time since being elected, going on my 9th year, that I have taken the village health insurance, and as soon as I get another job, I will take no village health insurance. I do have special needs with my family, and that's between my family and myself. So at the expense of taking insurance as part of the benefit, which Trustee Straight takes and other trustees that are here, I won't bring their names into it, I don't think it's unreasonable to take that, and I do believe that it's unreasonable that if you have your own health insurance that you take that benefit. That being said, just with Trustee Straight's own calculations.
Please refer to the no one by name.
That being said, the person to the left of me has cost the village over $600,000 in health insurance because he has never paid his own health insurance. When it comes to the benefits of a pension, exactly what Bob or Trustee Straight is saying, is that it's a benefit, but there are people who are career politicians that have been in office for 20-something years that will do the last 2 or 3 years in a job in which they're going to get paid out the full of pension, and that's what really puts a tax on it. And I firmly believe, and I say that even being an unemployed trustee, that I do not believe that we should be receiving any pension benefits. And that even if it's a nominal fee, over a period of time, it makes a big statement that you lead by example, and by being willing to state that we're not going to take that, that's showing leadership by example. Obviously, you want to make it a personal attack, Bob, come to my house anytime, you know where I'm
Let's
at.
address the
We can
chair
always
and not
talk
each
about
other.
it. Last time you came there, you enjoyed
Call the vote.
Yeah.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Straight?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Thank you. And thank you for coming, Paul.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Excuse me. Item 21 is a resolution to adopt a policy for reviewing executive session recordings of past Village Board of Trustees meetings, executive sessions in the Village of Oak Lawn. May I have a motion on item 21, please?
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Trustee Straight.
this is the policy that I was referring to that is changing. As I said, previously, all trustees were provided all village information that was, first of all, because it's public information. Anything that we compile here at village expense, at taxpayers' expense, must be eventually made available to the public. And I think part of, as a trustee and a representative, we have to have access to that information. So it really, it's not right to change the policy. It's not right to not to provide that information. And I think it gives the impression that you have something to hide from the public. And I think that's the wrong message when you run on transparency and then you stop providing information. That's the wrong message to send to anybody, certainly the public. So that's why I will be opposing this resolution.
Thank you.
Or this.
Any other discussion?
Madam Mayor, may I?
Trustee Desmond, actually, please, was first.
Yeah, I have a question. I believe this is not restricting any trustee's rights to this information.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
So any trustee can request this information?
Correct.
At any
and
time?
has access to it, correct.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Trustee Oliniechek.
the Open Meetings Act law, which certain trustees refer to pieces of it, I'll read what verbatim recordings of closed sessions are for. A public body must also keep a verbatim recording of any closed session in the form of a video or audio recording. Please note that this recording is additional to the meeting minutes. The purpose of this provision is, number one, to ensure that the public bodies keep accurate records of their proceedings for their own protection, and number two, to provide a record for a court to examine when it's trying to ascertain whether a violation of Open Meeting Act has occurred. To comply, the verbatim recording provision, the public body must record the entire closed session. The verbatim recording of a closed session must be kept by the public body for a minimum of 18 months after the meeting and may be destroyed after the expiration of that period in time, but only if the public body approves the destruction, or number two, the public body approves written minutes of closed sessions concerned, and three, there is no legal action pending concerning the meeting. Verbatim recordings of closed sessions are exempt from disclosure under Freedom of Information Act. So there is no violation of transparency. If a resident wanted to file a Freedom of Information Act for these, they would not be able to get them. A trustee, a mayor, or other elected officials would be able to get them, and they would be able to keep them in the village. And you can understand that there is a need to keep them in the village because of some of the characters that we deal with. We do not want things like this to be used for other things other than making sure that we represent the constituents of the Village of Oak Lawn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee
Madam
Vorder.
President, I had nothing to do with drafting this document. but I think I'm smart enough to know why we need to do this. I think that in the past, many times, there's been leaks, okay, of this type of information for political purpose. This is just an attempt, okay, to put a little control on those leaks. And that provides for better government and a more efficient running of this board. Am I correct? Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No?
Trustee Quinlan?
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Item number 22 is a resolution adopting a policy for placing items on the Board of Trustee agenda for upcoming meetings. May I have a motion on item 22, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Desmond,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion?
Madam President?
Trustee Streit.
The reason that I also addressed this issue in terms of, in my new business, because this is codifying a policy that essentially states that everybody has to have their information for the board agenda in a week prior to the meeting, unless it's deemed an emergency. And I think what we saw just at the last meeting was that I had requested, after Tuesday, I had requested all the items that were on the agenda. I got a copy of the agenda, and then lo and behold, when the agenda came out to the full board for the meeting, there was an item added, the 2013 infrastructure policy change. And I think the point I would make is, of course, was that really an emergency? And who decides if what's an emergency? So I think what we really have here is the minority board members are going to have everything in by Tuesday, and then everybody else will get to have their items in whenever they want. So there's clearly two sets of rules. We are codifying it, but that's clearly what this is all about.
Trustee Quinlan.
I had talked with Pat Conley. We made those two-word changes.
I haven't,
Trustee, Pat, would you please come to the mic? And
I did speak with Trustee Quinlan about the intent of the ordinance. The discussion was that it could be a little confusing. The intent is, as Trustee Streit said, to codify the current practice of any two trustees, the mayor, the village manager, or a department head requesting items on there, just to make sure that that is clear, that it's an either of any of those, of that
Either.
group. We're going to propose a change to the language in there before, in your ordinance, before it says two trustees, adding the word either, and then when it gets right before department heads, where it says and/or, removing the and just leaving it or. So it's either of any of that subset that's listed in there.
thank you, thank you. So
Approve subject to-
we need a motion to approve the amended resolution.
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek.
Based on those modifications, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Based
yes, I'll
on
second.
what our attorney just said. Seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Any other discussion? And Trustee Streit, I'm just going to comment on your remarks. I actually did put this on the agenda for today because I felt that we need very firm direction, and it was ambiguous, and I felt our clerk would work better if she had a policy that was in place for all of us, and it would be a little bit more, the burden is not on her to decide if something should appear on Friday that perhaps wasn't vetted by village attorneys. It would be a very clear policy. So I did it because of the confusion we had at the last meeting, and I didn't want that to happen again. So I want it to apply to everyone exactly as it's written in the ordinance, with the exception for emergencies.
And if it was just for...
Trustee Streit?
Thank you, Madam President. If it's just for emergencies, I would be fine with that. I just think it'll be abused. One thing I would ask is, would it be too much of an imposition to ask that I receive an email copy of everything that is to the clerk by 5 o'clock, or by Wednesday morning is fine, of everything that has been received by 5 o'clock on the Tuesday prior to the meeting? That way we'll know what's been added. Was that acceptable?
I believe you already are requesting that information, and I don't think you're going to change your behavior based on anything we do at the table tonight. And
I only requested it at the last meeting.
And I had said that was a draft, Bob. And at the last meeting, I'd like to note that You did read this memo from my deputy clerk, and you read the first paragraph. Please take note that items should be in the clerk's office by 5 p.m. the Tuesday before the BOT meetings.
Yeah.
You forgot to read this part. This will ensure that the attorneys have ample time to prepare any documents for the agenda. We will print the agenda on the Thursday before the BOT meetings. And Bob, you were trying to work with me to make sure we get everything for years in on time, because I want to know by Tuesday so we can let the attorneys know what's coming. And I'd like everybody in the Village of Oak Lawn to see what it is the week an agenda is due, because it's almost a nightmare up in the clerk's office for that Thursday and Friday. So we do our best, and I will not let that policy be abused. Trust me.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that for me, Mayor.
Thank you.
Just for
And
clarification.
any other discussion, or I think I'm going to call the vote. Call the vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No?
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Okay, item number 23 is a resolution approving the proposal of Vision Internet for website redesign services.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion on, properly moved by trustee Oliniechek,
I will second.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Trustee Desmond?
At the technology meeting, I was very impressed by the technology staff and all the great work they had done in bringing us these two bids. The current provider is now charging us $3,000 per month to manage the website. The new website provider, after the initial cost of setup, is going to be charging us $6,600 per year. So after a number of years, this will pay for itself. The new website, it's going to be almost completely interactive. People that normally would have to come to the village to do their business will now be able to do it online. If a resident sees a street light that's not working, they can take a picture and send it to the village without ever leaving their home. I think it's going to be a huge benefit for all the residents, and I'm very excited about being part of this technology committee. Back to you.
Thank you. Any other
Madam Chair,
discussion?
sorry.
Okay, let's call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 24 is a resolution authorizing the submission of the 2013 Urban Area Security Initiative grant application to the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. May I have a motion on item 24, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Desmond,
I'll second.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam President, I think this is a great security device for District 4. As I understand this plan, we're going to actually incorporate some cameras, okay, within the 4th District, particularly in and around the hospital.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
the locations,
Are still subject to
Correct,
change in that,
correct.
but that's the general
correct,
concept.
correct.
I think that's a great idea. I think it's a modern-day use of technology
Yeah.
to provide more security for the residents of our community.
And it's not exclusively District 4 also.
Yes, I understand it, but
Yeah.
of course, that's my concern, District 4. So.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's call the roll, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, item number 25 is a request to approve the 2013 band contracts for this year's Fall on the Green Festival.
Motion to approve?
Properly
Second.
moved by trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by trustee Desmond. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes. 2 weeks ago, I received a communication alleging fraud with an American Express donation to Fall on the Green 2012. In response, I sent an email to the village manager, the village attorney, and Mayor Berry asking for village staff to answer these 5 questions. Who from American Express gave the village $15,000 for the sponsorship? Who at the village received a $15,000 check? what date was that check received? What was the check number on that check? And who from American Express received 30 sponsor tent wristbands? In written and signed statements from village staff, we were told American Express never gave the village a check for $15,000. Former mayor and former Special Events Committee Chairman Bob Streit and the board majority gave a policy directive to misappropriate $15,000 of taxpayer money from the village general fund and call it a diamond sponsorship from American Express. The contact at American Express did not want the 30 wristbands when checked, did not get them, which shouldn't be surprising since American Express was not a sponsor. So the question I have, who used the 30 wristbands and who allowed $15,000 from the general fund to be put as a sponsorship? I am going to ask, Madam Chairman, that we have legal review this. I am taking all of my information that I have compiled through my investigation, and I will be forwarding this to the Attorney General and anybody else that would like to investigate this very matter. But the former chairman of the special events assured us that this stuff would not happen and said that everything would go in front of the board for approval. I can assure you that this board, while I was on it, did not approve $15,000 from the general fund to be shown as a sponsorship, when in fact American Express rebates us back that money for us using them to pay some bills. That concludes my report on that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Pretty wild accusations going on there, Trustee.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yeah, I do not understand where this is coming from. Who approached you with this, and
It was a concerned employee.
Trustee Olenichek?
A concerned employee approached me on this
Okay. Trustee Quinlan, any
and said that
questions?
they were afraid to lose their job if they brought this forward under the old mayor and old special events commissioner.
okay, so you have
Trustee
some...
Quinlan? Mhm.
You have some accusations, and have you...
Well, not only do I have accusations, I have documentation that proves that $15,000 left the general fund and was put towards a sponsorship. I have proof that unequivocally shows that American Express did not sponsor anything in Fall of the Green.
Alex, but...
Please address the chair to be recognized, not each other.
Okay.
Trustee Quinlan?
Special events have always been paid out of the general fund, am I correct?
Please address the chair. Trustee Olenichek?
You can talk to the people investigating. I don't have any other questions to address with you on this.
Okay, then I won't address you on it, but...
Thank you.
From my understanding, and this is going back from whenever, and Larry, maybe you would even know the answer to this, but the general fund pays for all of the special events. And you've used this term has been used before, something bad is happening, and I have a real hard time believing that. You've been sending off some, kind of outrageous emails, and then coming here and making these accusations, which I don't think is very appropriate, and accusing people that aren't even here on this board. Number one, I would have thought that this is something that would be addressed in an executive session. I don't think that bringing this, in this manner is appropriate, and I think you're completely wrong. And I think that whoever you're talking to is one person, and if there's multiples or whatever, or did you ask the right people the right questions?
Okay. Any other discussion? I'm going to call the vote.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, item 26. It's been customary over the past several years that the Board of Trustees adopts a summer schedule where it meets only once during the months of July and August instead of twice. We're a new board. We have a lot of work to do. I want to open this to discussion. What is the pleasure of the board on this? I just want to discuss it right now, not vote on it. Any discussion on a summer schedule? Trustee Vorder?
Madam President, if I recall, it was 3 months that they took a suspension, June, July, and August?
It's customary for 2 years, but the last year, I believe it was 3 months. Is that
3
correct?
months?
And one other time that I remember in the past 8 years.
3 months.
We just canceled the second meeting in June, 2 out of the last 8 years, from what I remember. And then last meeting in July and August, that was.
I just need a clarification of what was happening in the past. And I certainly support the concept that there's a lot of work to be done, and we're a new board and we're learning. I think it's a good idea. I would
Good
like to
idea.
have July and August.
Good idea to limit the meetings or not limit the meetings?
No, to continue with our meetings
Okay.
as usual.
Okay. Any other comments, one way or
I
another?
disagree.
Okay, trustee Quinlan?
This summer does slow down. It does. And if need be, we can always call a meeting, which we always do in December, when we're going through budgets and everything. And I think that people are pretty open to it. But
Okay.
I kind of like the past summer schedule that we've had. And like I said, I am not opposed to, if need be, calling a meeting.
Okay. Any other comments?
Madam Mayor, I
Trustee
believe with
Olejniczak.
the volume of work that we have in front of us and the things that we're going to be accomplishing, I believe that we should maintain our regular schedules.
Okay. Any other comments? Trustee Vorder?
Yeah, Madam President, from time to time, we all take a vacation throughout the summer, and I wouldn't want to really cancel a family vacation because I have a commitment to a board meeting. But I've seen in the past that once in a while, a trustee will just miss a board meeting and be absent. And that's certainly acceptable, okay? And the village business can continue on, and each of us personally can make that decision if we need to take right? Am I correct?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so I'm going to ask for a vote. Should we adopt canceling the second meeting of the month? So the board meetings during the summer would be June 25th, July 9th, and August 13th. We're going to make a motion to cancel those meetings. Well, I'd like a motion.
Motion to cancel the meetings.
Okay, we have a motion. Any second?
I'd second that.
Seconded by trustee Desmond. Any discussion further? I'm going to call the vote then.
Just so I'm clear, so the motion before us is to cancel the second meeting of every month
Correct.
for July and August, is
Correct.
that correct?
We
So
have-
a vote for yes means you don't want the meetings.
Correct. So the vote for yes means we will only meet June 25th, July 9th, and August 13th.
Vote for yes, correct.
Vote for
All right,
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's call the roll.
Trustee Olejniczak?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
No.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-2.
Okay, so for the record then, we will have only 3 meetings this summer. We are canceling the meeting July 23rd and August 27th, and the remaining 3 meetings will be June 25th, July 9th, and August 13th. Item number 27 is the village clerk's report.
All right. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements dated June 11th, 2013, in the amount of $5,021,686.60.
Motion approved.
Oh, thank you. Properly moved by trustee Quinlan,
Second.
Second to pay the bills.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Olejniczak?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan? Yes.
Trustee Quinlan? Did you vote?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Oh,
Thank
thought
you.
I did.
That's all I
Sorry.
have, Ms.
Okay, no other reports? Okay.
report.
Thank you. Village President report. I have on here the fire pension board appointment. I'm going to put this to a later meeting. I had put it on the agenda because I wanted it in by Tuesday, but I forgot to take it out on Friday when I wasn't quite ready for it, so we're going to discuss that at the next meeting.
Postpone to the next
So
meeting.
I'd like a motion to postpone that till the next meeting.
Motion to postpone.
Properly
Second.
moved by trustee Vorder, seconded by trustee Carberry. Please call the roll.
All in favor, aye?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, with respect, excuse me, with respect to the village treasurer appointment, our current treasurer, Mr. Jim McGovern, recently got in touch with me and said that he really enjoyed being treasurer for the past 7 years, but he and his wife are moving out of the area, and it was time to look for a new treasurer. He gave me a little bit of time to do this, and I just want to take the minute before I get started to talk and express my thanks to Jim for his dedicated years of service with honesty, integrity, and diligence. I believe it was 7 years he served as our treasurer. Pat O'Donnell is my appointment recommendation. Pat is a longtime resident of Oak Lawn and a lifetime South Sider. Those who know him know he has a reputation for brilliance and innovation. He's the former CIO of UBS, which had a yearly budget of $1.5 billion. He had 6,000 people working under him at that time. He sits on the New York Stock Exchange Derivatives Board. He worked as a de facto CIO for the city of Chicago, coordinating more than $1 billion in yearly technology expenditures between different departments. In 1 year alone, he saved them without having to spend a penny to do it, just restructuring things. He saved them over $55 million. He also sits on the Little Company of Mary Finance Board. He is eminently qualified for this position. He's a graduate of UIC, and I appoint him to treasurer. We met with him this morning. He's an amazingly innovative man, and Mr. Pat O'Donnell, I want to thank you for stepping up to that position. So I'd like a motion to approve that appointment, please.
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by trustee
Second.
Olenichuk, seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Trustee Quinlan.
I would really like to make a motion to postpone. You know who this gentleman is. You obviously do. I know nothing about him, and I really would like to have a resume. I think it was a good practice that we had, because you're asking me to vote on somebody that, I'm just getting some information on. And I just don't think it's fair to ask for me to, or anyone on this board who doesn't know this gentleman, to do that without a proper resume.
Okay.
A motion to postpone is a superseding motion, so.
We have a motion then to postpone. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion on the motion to postpone? Let's call the
I think
vote.
we should-
Oops, trustee Carberry.
I think we should just vote on the appointment.
Okay. So what we're voting on right now is going to be a motion to postpone this appointment first, because that supersedes the original. So
A vote yes means to postpone the appointment, a vote no means
Yep,
not to
yep.
postpone.
Thank you.
okay. So we're voting then to postpone the appointment. Please call the roll.
Trustee Olenichuk.
No.
Trustee Desmond.
No.
Trustee Carberry.
No.
Trustee Vorder.
No.
Trustee Streit.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Okay. So I'd
Motion fails 4-2.
like a motion to approve the appointment, please.
So moved?
Properly moved by trustee Olenichuk,
Second.
seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion?
Madam President.
Trustee Straight?
I have to agree that trustee Quinlan, and I hope that this isn't a practice that that continues. We always have had resumes for anybody that was appointed to anything here in the village. I don't think there's any reason that practice should change. We don't have any information whatsoever, and Mr. O'Donnell could turn out to be a fine individual, but I don't think that by us being asked to vote on someone that, and maybe some of the members know him well, that's very likely, but we don't know anything about him, so I think that's not really reasonable to ask us to vote on that tonight. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Trustee Olenichuk.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
No.
Trustee Quinlan.
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Thank you. With respect to the commission appointments, I'd like a motion to move this to the next meeting or a later meeting also, please.
So
Again,
made.
Properly moved by
Second.
trustee Warder, seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit? Yes. Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. It's been an extremely busy time in the village. We've been meeting, well, I've been meeting with local school boards, the Park District, and other organizations. Last Thursday, we met in this room with about 35 seniors to discuss the new senior center and what they'd like to see in terms of senior programs moving forward. Almost all of them miss having their own place that was uniquely their own. They want programs for more active seniors and have plenty of ideas for what they want in terms of physical space. We've started a committee that will look into what we can do to improve things for the seniors, both short-term and long-term. I just want to say to any seniors who might be watching the meeting or those in attendance today that I'm personally committed to moving things forward and would welcome any feedback on this matter. Lastly, I'm at Village Hall regularly by appointment and without appointment anytime on Tuesdays between 2 and 4. And that's the end of my report. And we have number 29. Excuse me, I've been talking too much. Number 29, I'd like a motion, please, to move into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you. For the purpose of discussing, 1, reviewing for the approval of minutes of closed meetings of 2013-01 dated January 8th, 2013, and 2013-02 dated April 23rd, and 2013, am I reading it right, Jane? Okay, it seems all garbled. 2013-03 dated May 28th, 2013. Item 2, the release of minutes of closed meetings from November 9th, 2004 through November 11th, 2002. Number 3, probable or imminent litigation. And number 4, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. So, may I have a motion, please?
We need a second.
Who made the motion, please?
Alex.
Already did.
Alex, properly moved by trustee Oliniechek. I need a second, please.
I'll second.
Trustee Vorder, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So we're going to clear the room, please, for executive session.